A royal corridor, a sealed door, and inside, the future queen was making a decision that would send tremors through Buckingham Palace. What happened just 4 minutes ago has now come to light, and insiders are reeling from the consequences of what Princess Kate has finally chosen to reveal. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. Whispers travel faster than footsteps in royal households, and yet this consultation was never intended to leave the room. Leaked reports now describe how Princess Kate arranged a private, unscheduled medical meeting at an undisclosed royal facility, quietly bypassing the usual channels designed to keep every royal health matter recorded, reviewed, and controlled. Only 2 senior medical advisors were present, joined by a legal consultant whose presence alone signaled that this was no routine checkup. What unfolded between those walls was a conversation that challenged the very expectations placed upon a future queen. A declaration that her body, her future, and her dignity would not be measured against tradition. As details seeped out, tension rippled across the palace like a storm moving under polished floors. Advisors exchanged glances they dared not voice. For generations, royal health had belonged not just to the individual, but to the institution, a carefully curated narrative meant to reassure the public, maintain strength, and conceal vulnerability. Yet Catherine, quietly and deliberately, pushed back. Her desire for personal control clashed with a crown that believes transparency, even selective transparency, is part of the royal bargain. She did not raise her voice. She simply drew a line. Behind the scenes, there is growing belief that the timing was intentional. The consultation took place when several senior figures were away, making it harder for interference to creep in and redirect her choices. It was as if she knew that once others became aware, the conversation might shift from medical facts to royal politics. And so she acted first, forcing the palace to react rather than command. Some inside whisper that this was Catherine's quiet assertion that she would not become a public case study, dissected by commentators and courtiers alike. But what unsettled many most deeply was not just what she decided it was who did not know. Queen Camilla, according to insiders, learned of the meeting only after it had concluded. The delay felt deliberate, perhaps protective, perhaps strategic, but undeniably provocative. In that absence of notification, an unspoken message emerged. Not every personal decision must pass through layers of hierarchy before it becomes real. Now the question echoing through hushed corridors is whether this was a moment of defiance, courage, or something far more calculated, a redefinition of royal autonomy in an era where privacy is almost impossible to defend. And yet, for all the speculation, only one truth remains certain: something was placed on the table that cannot easily be taken back. But what could possibly be so controversial, so disruptive, that it had to be hidden behind closed doors? The answer lies in a medical document that has stunned the inner circle. It wasn't just a routine checkup. Sources claim the document handed to Princess Kate outlines an elective medical path, one that defies royal norms and places personal agency above monarchy. And now, that document has sparked silent warfare behind palace walls. What began as a private consultation has now exploded into a full-scale institutional crisis, all traced back to a single document that few were meant to see. Insiders who've risked everything to leak fragments of its contents suggest that it contains not only personal medical preferences, but a revolutionary legal maneuver, a confidential waiver related to long-term care decisions. This waiver, reportedly signed in the presence of both her private medical counsel and a royal legal observer, grants Catherine unprecedented control over how and when information about her health can be released, disclosed, or even discussed among royal staff. It is, in essence, a lockbox, one that no amount of royal protocol can easily pick open. The most explosive revelation, however, lies in her rejection of certain royally recommended treatment options. These aren't mere suggestions, they're part of the long-standing Crown-approved path for managing health disclosures and interventions. By stepping away from that, Catherine hasn't just made a medical decision, she's made a declaration of independence from a system that thrives on compliance. The document reportedly leans heavily toward an independent medical strategy crafted by Catherine's private advisors, one that sidesteps royal hospitals and ensures minimal involvement from the institution itself. It is calculated, clinical, and deeply personal. And then, buried within that same document, a clause now sending shivers across the highest tiers of the palace. The so-called dignity clause. Though unconfirmed officially, palace insiders claim this provision is the result of months of quiet legal work, an initiative led by Catherine's own legal counsel and supported by sympathetic external advisors. The clause reportedly restricts the use of imagery, commentary, and institutional briefings relating to her medical condition unless explicitly authorized by her or her private estate. In other words, it effectively neuters the palace's ability to control the public-facing narrative about her health. And for an institution built on image, that is nothing short of mutiny. This breach from tradition has stunned the royal court. Those who still remember Queen Elizabeth II's public composure through various health issues see Catherine's decision as a troubling departure from expected duty. In those quiet corridors, reverence for the late Queen's stoicism still runs deep, and to some, this new approach feels like a betrayal cloaked in modern sensibility. But for others, particularly the younger generation of royals, it marks a brave step toward a new standard, one where privacy is reclaimed, not sacrificed for pageantry. And yet, for all the legal precision and personal clarity Catherine has shown, the emotional and political cost of her decision is rising fast. Sources close to the palace confirm that King Charles, though outwardly calm, was deeply conflicted upon hearing the news. Having weathered decades of institutional drama, the king reportedly struggled to balance his paternal instincts with his monarchical duties. Some say he understood Catherine's move as a personal right. Others suggest he sees it as a dangerous precedent, one that could unravel the monarchy's carefully maintained aura of resilience and unity. While the royal court reels, attention turns to the palace's highest echelons, where Catherine's choices have exposed cracks in the family's once unified image. He's the heir to the throne and her husband. But what happens when duty collides with devotion? Prince William is reportedly torn between supporting Catherine's controversial decision and shielding the monarchy from a storm of backlash. As the fallout from Catherine's private medical consultation swept through the palace, all eyes inevitably turned to William. He had been there, physically present at the facility, yet not in the room when the decision was sealed. That distance, both literal and emotional, has raised difficult questions. Why wasn't he inside? Was it Catherine's choice? Or was it William, unwilling to blur the line between husband and heir? Whichever the case, the message was clear: this was her battle. But his silence would carry consequences. And those consequences came quickly. Reports from trusted palace insiders confirm that shortly after Catherine signed the document, William entered a private meeting with senior royal advisors. What followed, according to those present, was a conversation marked by sharp voices, clenched expressions, and an overwhelming sense of disbelief. For William, this was the impossible intersection of love and legacy. On one hand, a wife whose strength and autonomy had always been his pride. On the other, the looming weight of a monarchy that demands order, tradition, and deference above all else. Sources close to the couple describe him as visibly shaken, caught in a loop of self-questioning. Did he do enough to stop it? Should he have intervened sooner? Or is he now, by remaining supportive, complicit in a royal rupture? The emotional stakes only rose further when Queen Camilla reportedly confronted him directly over Catherine's actions. Insiders claim the exchange was tense and unsparing. Camilla, fiercely protective of the institution's image, pressed William to take a firmer stance to remind Catherine of her royal obligations, regardless of personal fears. But William, still navigating his inner storm, refused to rebuke his wife. This moment marked a growing divide not just between Catherine and Camilla, but between William and the very system he was born to uphold. Advisors describe him as torn to the bone, a man who has long believed in evolution over rebellion, yet now finds himself silently backing a decision that upends the core of royal structure. The toll on their marriage, though hidden behind palace walls, has reportedly been profound. Nights of whispered conversation, long silences, and emotional distance have punctuated what was once an unbreakable alliance. But through the grief and pressure, one truth has re-emerged, a vow made long ago when the couple first confronted the media's relentless intrusion after their engagement. Family first, no matter the cost. That pact, forged through fire, has once again become their anchor. For Catherine, this was always about protecting not just herself but her children, her identity and her autonomy. And for William, though shaken and uncertain, that deeper purpose remains undeniable. Still, the cost of that loyalty is rising by the hour. With every leak, every whisper in the halls, the question now lingers: has the future king already chosen a side? And if so, will the crown ever forgive him? But as the emotional toll builds, another figure rises from the shadows, one who's not known for silence. Queen Camilla is no stranger to scandal, but this time she's the one demanding answers. In a furious confrontation, insiders say Camilla accused Catherine of undermining the monarchy. The Queen Consort believes this isn't about health, it's about power. The atmosphere inside the palace shifted sharply when Queen Camilla learned she had been left out of the loop. Not just excluded from the consultation, but entirely blindsided by the scale of what had occurred. Furious, she summoned senior aides into her private chambers and demanded a full account. The tension in that room, according to those present, was suffocating. Camilla, long a protector of royal procedure, couldn't believe such a monumental step had been taken without her knowledge. Her voice, normally measured, was reportedly sharp, laced with disbelief and indignation. She wanted to know who allowed this to happen, who permitted Catherine to sidestep the unwritten rules that have governed royal conduct for generations. What followed was a chilling exchange. Camilla, never one to mince words, is said to have declared Catherine's medical move a soft abdication of royal health duty. Not a refusal of care, but a refusal of control, the palace's control. To Camilla, the act reeked of calculated resistance dressed in modern concern. And more alarmingly, she saw in it a direct challenge to her own authority, not just as queen consort, but as a symbol of institutional stability. For years, Camilla has worked to mold herself into the face of order, adapting the crown's traditions with care and caution. But Catherine's lone act shattered that illusion of unity. It was, in Camilla's eyes, an act of quiet rebellion. The fallout spread rapidly. Staffers who had long walked a delicate line between both women now found themselves caught in a deepening schism. Some whispered that the Queen had every right to be furious, that protocol had been violated, that the crown's image was left exposed. Others muttered behind closed doors that Camilla's obsession with procedure was blinding her to the humanity of the decision. The divide wasn't just between people, it was between ideals, and at the heart of it was Catherine, who had said nothing publicly but had nonetheless drawn lines that could not be erased. Witnesses to the confrontation describe a final moment of piercing silence following Camilla's outburst. No rebuttals, no defenses, just the weight of tension hanging in the air like a blade. And as Camilla stormed out, speculation grew rapidly that she would not let this moment pass without action. Some believe she has already spoken privately to King Charles, urging him to intervene, to reassert the crown's grip on medical disclosures, and to remind Catherine that no royal is above tradition. Whether Charles will listen remains uncertain, but if history has taught the royal family anything, it's that a house divided is a house vulnerable. What makes this moment even more significant is that this is not the first time these two women have clashed. The battle between protocol and instinct has defined much of their quiet rivalry. Where Camilla upholds ceremony, Catherine leans into empathy. Where Camilla seeks control, Catherine chooses compassion. And now, those tensions have erupted into open conflict, with the future of royal conduct hanging in the balance. Yet amid palace fury and protocol debates, Catherine's motivation wasn't rebellion, it was protection. This was never just about her. Behind the bold decisions lies a mother's deepest fear, losing control over how her children would witness her struggle. Catherine's medical choice wasn't just for herself. It was for George, Charlotte and Louis. In the heart of the storm, behind the legal clauses and protocol breaches, lived a quieter, more personal truth, one that explains the weight behind every signature Catherine placed on that now infamous medical document. For years, she had watched how the royal machine managed vulnerability, how illness became spectacle, and how privacy was traded for the illusion of strength. And more than anything else, she feared her children would be forced to witness her reduced to a storyline, another tragic arc in a centuries-old institution obsessed with control. She had seen it before, and she would not allow it to happen again. Those close to the Princess of Wales have long said that her deepest commitment is to her role as a mother, not a monarch. Behind the palace doors, she reportedly spoke of needing to shield her children from what she described as the claws of curiosity. This wasn't a hypothetical concern. It was rooted in real, historic pain. Advisors claim Catherine spent considerable time reviewing how the royal family handled Queen Elizabeth's and Princess Margaret's health disclosures, the staged photos, the late press releases, the unending speculation. She reportedly vowed that her children would never endure those distortions, that if the time ever came when she would face a public health battle, they would be spared the trauma of watching it unfold in tabloid headlines. There are whispers that Catherine even reached out privately to individuals who once served Princess Diana, seeking insight into how her mother-in-law navigated media intrusion during her most vulnerable moments. What she heard, according to palace sources, only deepened her conviction. She realized that to protect her children, she could not rely on the palace's worn-out mechanisms. She had to draw her own boundaries. It was this instinct, raw, maternal, and immovable, that drove her to craft a medical strategy with surgical precision, one that ensured she, and only she, would determine what her children would see, hear, and remember about their mother's health. Her fears weren't without reason. Even before the consultation, Catherine had grown wary of increasing leaks from royal aides and escalating interest from global media outlets. She'd seen how a single image, a passing comment, or a half-truth could morph into a narrative that lived far longer than the reality behind it. Paparazzi drones had been spotted near family residences, and anonymous sources had begun feeding speculation to tabloids about her recent absence from public duties. This was the beginning of a storm she refused to let reach her children's doorstep. According to one close friend, Catherine made a powerful statement just days before the consultation, a line that now echoes across every royal hallway: "My children will remember their mother's grace, not gossip." It was more than defiance. It was a mother's vow, a declaration that our legacy to them would be shaped by peace, not panic, strength, not spectacle. While her maternal instincts drove her choices, another faction within the palace sees this as a political move, and they're preparing to push back. Behind velvet curtains, royal strategists are mobilizing. Catherine's decisions, though personal, are being reinterpreted as constitutional overreach. And now, whispers of containment, narrative control, and soft retaliation have begun. Within hours of the news leaking, the inner machinery of the monarchy roared to life, not publicly, but in the shadows. An emergency session was quietly convened. Not for the public, not for the press, but for the institution itself. The Royal Communications team, flanked by senior legal counsel and long-standing palace strategists, was summoned to formulate a response. But this wasn't about damage control. This was about prevention. The tone, according to insiders, was not of shock but urgency. Catherine's decision, while framed as a personal act, was rapidly being viewed as something far more dangerous, a precedent. Those present knew what was at stake. If Catherine, a future queen, could bypass palace channels, craft her own medical narrative, and assert control over information, what stopped others from doing the same? Could the royal family, long bound by shared image and unified messaging, survive individual autonomy? The fear wasn't just what Catherine had done, it was what she had opened. And so began the careful rewriting of the story. Draft statements were prepared not to attack, but to reframe. Words like tradition, duty, and unity began circulating through the internal memos. Communications experts advised that any official remarks must appear neutral, but subtly reinforce the palace's grip on protocol. The goal wasn't confrontation, it was dilution. Control the narrative without igniting rebellion. Behind the scenes, palace aides worked swiftly to suppress coverage. Leaks from media partners suggest pressure was placed on several royal correspondents to downplay the medical aspect of the story and pivot attention toward upcoming public engagements. One senior press officer reportedly warned, "We cannot let her set a precedent. The crown is bigger than any one person's fears." Even as that statement was whispered behind closed doors, legal advisors were brought in to assess the long-term implications. How much discretion could future royals claim in matters of health? Could the palace legally demand transparency, or would they be forced to evolve? These weren't just legal questions, they were existential ones. At the heart of this quiet storm was a single driving concern. If Catherine's actions went unchallenged, the monarchy might face a ripple effect too disruptive to contain. And so the conversation turned toward future control. A growing push among senior aides called for a new framework, one that would limit the ability of senior royals to make private medical decisions without at least symbolic oversight. Proposals ranged from updated medical disclosure clauses to internal review boards composed of palace-sanctioned advisors. The mood was not one of compassion, but calculation. The institution wasn't healing, it was circling its wagons. But even as palace walls thickened with strategy, there was a palpable unease. Because deep down, many inside knew they were no longer just managing Catherine. They were reacting to a new royal consciousness, one that valued humanity over heritage, one that refused to be managed. And whether they admitted it or not, the old system had just been exposed. But just as the palace begins its counter-offensive, an unexpected voice cuts through the silence and shocks the nation. No one expected her to speak, but she did. In a brief yet powerful message, Princess Anne has publicly supported Catherine's right to privacy, calling it an act of strength, not defiance. And with that, the royal power balance begins to tilt. The Princess Royal has long been the monarchy's most unshakable figure, stoic, sharp, and loyal to the core. She has never courted the spotlight nor indulged in theatrics. Her silence has always been interpreted as strength, her loyalty as immovable. But in this moment of extraordinary tension, even Anne could not remain still. The statement was short, measured, and delivered through an unexpected channel, a long-standing charity of which she is patron. There was no fanfare, no press release, just a few lines embedded in a broader commentary on dignity, choice, and the evolving nature of public service. And yet, those few words sent shockwaves through a monarchy already fraying at the edges. In her message, Anne made a pointed reference to the burden royal women have silently carried and the growing need to respect choice over performance. There was no mention of Catherine by name, but the subtext was unmissable. Insiders confirmed that Anne and Catherine met privately just days earlier, in a setting arranged away from the usual royal observers. Those close to Anne say she left the meeting unusually quiet, visibly moved, and reflective. Whatever was said between them didn't just change Anne's mind, it compelled her to act. And for someone who rarely breaks ranks, that act was seismic. Camilla, once confident in her stance, now finds herself challenged not by tabloids or whispers, but by one of the most respected figures in the royal hierarchy. Anne's public stance neutralizes Camilla's authority, at least in the court of public opinion. And the pressure is mounting. Sources inside the palace say King Charles is struggling to manage the growing tension, torn between the loyalty of his wife and the moral clarity of his sister. What was once an internal dispute has become a constitutional fault line, with Anne's words offering the public a rare glimpse of empathy from within the palace walls. The impact hasn't stopped with Anne. Quiet ripples have begun to surface among the younger generation of royals. Zara Tindall, never one to seek attention, has reportedly iced private support for Catherine, citing the importance of protecting family above image. Even Lady Louise is said to have expressed admiration for Catherine's decision during a closed conversation with royal aides. It's becoming clear that Catherine's stand is not isolated. It has sparked an awakening among women in the royal family who have long watched from the sidelines. Perhaps what's most stunning is how Anne, by choosing her moment with surgical precision, has shifted the narrative without engaging in spectacle. She didn't demand attention, she redirected it. Her action, though subtle, holds more weight than any palace decree or press statement. It is the quiet authority of a woman who has lived the cost of obedience and has now chosen to support a new form of courage. But even as public sympathy builds around Catherine, one final revelation is set to turn the narrative on its head. Buried within the document was something no one anticipated: a preemptive royal medical will, a powerful move that outlines how Catherine's image, treatment, and dignity will be protected at all costs, and it may change royal protocol forever. The discovery came not from palace aides but through whispers, leaking from within Catherine's trusted circle. This wasn't just a declaration of privacy or a pushback against tradition. It was a strategic blueprint for the future. Within the paperwork signed during that now infamous consultation was a clause that sent shockwaves through royal and legal circles alike, a strict limitation on the release of any medical images or recordings involving the princess, enforceable even against internal palace documentation. It was a line drawn so definitively, so boldly, that even seasoned advisors were left stunned. Catherine, it appeared, wasn't waiting to react to circumstances. She was preparing to govern them. But the revelations didn't stop there. In an unprecedented step, Catherine had also appointed an external medical guardian, someone outside the monarchy's influence, authorized to make decisions in moments where she may not be able to speak for herself. This was not simply a safety net. It was a safeguard against institutional overreach. The royal family, historically, has never ceded such autonomy to outside voices. But here, Catherine had done just that. She wasn't just preserving her rights, she was rewriting the rules of royal vulnerability. Even more poignant was the clause regarding her children. Should her condition worsen at any point in the future, the document demands that their involvement, public or private, remain strictly limited. No hospital visits with cameras lurking outside, no staged walks or symbolic gestures of unity, nothing that could reduce their pain into palace theatre. It was in essence a mother's final act of protection, written in ink and legally binding. Legal experts familiar with royal governance were quick to call the move unprecedented, not because of its defiance, but because of its structure. Every paragraph, every instruction within the document had been meticulously reviewed and constructed not to defy the crown, but to insulate Catherine from its demands. Quietly but unmistakably, she had initiated a silent revolution, one not of rebellion but of intention, a future queen choosing not to suffer in public, but to set the terms of her humanity before the world could distort it. And while the palace continues to weigh its next move, the impact of Catherine's will is already being felt. Advisors are re-evaluating how future consorts and even reigning monarchs will approach health transparency. Some see danger in what she's done, others see dignity, but all agree nothing will be the same again. And now, the question echoing through palace halls and across the world is the beginning of a more human monarchy or the unraveling of tradition itself? Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.